Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you are or whenever you're watching this. Welcome to Floating in Dreams. This video is going to be all about 10 eyeshadow palettes that I want to go back to and get some more use out of. Welcome to everybody watching today's video. Thank you so very much for being here today. Today's video is going to be all about 10 eyeshadow palettes that I would like to go back to. I have found myself with just an overflow of new in releases in recent years, and it has just not allowed me to go back to old favorites as much as I'd like to. But now that there's light at the end of the tunnel, because I just haven't brought in as many new palettes into my collection in the past year or two, I would like to go back to some of my favorites that I feel I just need to get more use out of. These are the ones that are top of the list, but there's a plan behind it. So I'm going to explain to you the plan, and then I have 10 palettes for you that are top of the list when it comes to palettes I want to go back to. And in case you don't know what my channel is all about, hi, my name is Maaike. I love creating content about eyeshadow palettes, reviewing them for you, as well as new Essence and Catrice products whenever those are around. And I love getting the use out of my makeup, so that's where this video also slots in. And if you are like me and you are a snow angel, meaning fair skin toned with a cool to neutral undertone, then I hope my reviews can be helpful for you, because I have found through experience that a lot of the products that are hyped up in the beauty community aren't working for me because they don't really go with my undertone. So that's where a lot of my reviews sort of come from, and that's also where some of my taste when it comes to eyeshadow palettes come from. So I've selected 10 palettes for you today that I really want to get back to, and that are just really that I hold near and dear to my heart. If you've seen some of my recent eyeshadow palette videos, I think you may know what's coming for the most part. So yeah, let me tell you about the plan first. What is the grand plan? So I think already last year I already tried making an effort, but this year I just like, right, you just need to stop buying every new thing that sparks your interest. I felt extremely overwhelmed with the amount of makeup that was announced, and I was doing new makeup releases videos, and those just really became a chore to make because there was just too much. And I felt that my videos were very negative because a lot of the releases I saw didn't interest me at all, or I knew weren't going to work for me. So a lot of my videos were like, no, 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 no. And then I would expose myself to so much new makeup that I then felt I had to do something with, that it just led to me like overbuying. And a couple of years ago, the way I went about eyeshadow palette reviews was very much that I would do looks for reviews on downtime, and then on days where I went to work, I would go back to palettes that I already knew very well to just create a quick look before I headed out the door. And I would get so much more use out of my makeup collection. And I can feel it in my bones that I want to go back to that sort of system where throughout the week, when I'm at work, that I just have to not worry about things, and that I can just do like a one palette a week kind of spiel, where I have one eyeshadow palette, and that work week I'm going to be using just that one palette. And then during the weekend, or if I have vacation, I can really focus on trying out new things. I've now figured out a system how I can do that. Because very often, because I have quite sensitive skin, I really struggled with being able to take off my makeup and then reapply a full face of makeup again, which is really what you need to do if you want to do like 3 looks with a palette. So what I was stuck with was, if I wanted to do a review for a larger palette that warranted 5 looks, that was 5 days of doing my makeup because of my sensitive skin. But I've now figured out how I can make it work for myself without irritating my eyes. I just need to stop taking off my mascara every step I do. And because I now have studio lighting, it's a lot easier for me to, for instance, come home, take off all my makeup, sit down, reapply the makeup, and then do a few looks for reviews if I'm so inclined. So that's why I've just sort of figured out a system that I can make this work for myself, that I don't have to focus on using a new product every single day. And that means I can just go back to old favorites or palettes that I have tried in recent years that I know I love, but that, save for doing the reviews, I haven't really been able to really go back to them and use them more on a day-to-day basis. And that's definitely where this video today goes into. Already starting in June, I'm going to be slotting these things into a 10 palette review video, because I feel that review videos don't necessarily have to be about new things per se. I especially think that if we have palettes coming out that are similar to things I already have in my collection, that I can already do side-by-side comparisons because I've gone back to the OG version of it, and then I can show you side-by-side looks and those kind of things. So I have this idea of how I can also revamp my 10 palette review series as a result of it. And sort of the aim is towards the end of the year to have a 50-50 split in my 10 palette review videos with 5 palettes that are new and 5 palettes that are older and that I went back to, either because they are similar to what's already in that video, or that I just felt like I just need to go back to these. And these 10 palettes I'm going to prioritize. If there isn't anything that is too similar to these are just 10 palettes I want to get more use out of. And that's where I'm coming from with today's video. And top of the list, like the palette, the minute I get the chance, I'm gonna use Natasha Denona Gold. This was discontinued and I changed up the color story because it had a very yellow tone gold in the middle. And I haven't really gone back to this palette ever since I slotted that shade in almost 2 years ago now. But I remember when I tried this, I was just so taken with it. I love some of the shimmer shades in here. Like these like tealy shades are just itching. Like I'm just itching to go back to them. I can easily see myself doing 3 to 5 looks with this just before I head out to work and to create some more looks with it. So yeah, Natasha Denona Gold is definitely one I need to go back to. And then the other one I really want to go back to is another one of my favorites, and it's the ColourPop That's Taupe. I keep saying that this is one of the best taupe eyeshadow palettes that has ever been released. It's a really good cool tone. It's got some depth. It doesn't have too many like weird shades going on either. We get a nice split between some mattes and some shimmers. I feel that maybe these two are a little too samey, but this is one of the very few ColourPop eyeshadow palettes where I didn't mess with the color story and didn't change anything around, and that's for a good reason. And I just want to love on this even more and just go back to it and get some more use out of it. This is great for everyday, like the Natasha Denona, so I know this will be great for wearing it to work. And we're gonna see a lot of cool tones because cool tones just are my favorite. And I think that this palette from Catrice, the 5 in a box mini eyeshadow palette in modern smoky look, I mean, I bought a backup of this because they discontinued it really quickly over here. And I was like, okay, right before I had found out they were gonna discontinue it, but I still found some in store. So I bought a new one. And this is one where I'm like, I would be curious to see how long it would take me to hit pan on something like this, because it doesn't come with a whole lot of product, does it? Usually it says so on the front. Yeah, there's only 4 grams of product across 5 shades. So that means there's less than 1 gram in each pan, which is less than a standard eyeshadow comes with, but because I think a standard shadow in a round pan is like 1.2 grams. So yeah, I think that it's going to be fun to see how long it would take me to hit pan on something like this, because this is great for every day. So this could be one that I could select for a Shop My Stash and then keep it in for like a couple of months just to see how much progress I can make on this. That would be fun. More cool tones. The Coco Sanka from Glam Shop. This is another palette that I put in my top 15 all-time favorite eyeshadow palette videos because this was just great. I love this. This is similar to the That's Taupe. So if you're in Europe and you find ColourPop really difficult to buy, I get ColourPop through the US website, in case you were wondering. Definitely try Glam Shop. And if you're in the US and you want to try a EU-based indie brand, then definitely try out Glam Shop because they do some really cool stuff. It's not super expensive. Like if you look at other indie brands where palettes can be as much as like 40 or 50 euros, these are 20 euros each, so it's still on the more affordable side of things. And they do this lovely, really stunning cool tone color story. There are a couple of other palettes in the line that I would like to still try. I definitely think that before the end of the year I will place myself another Glam Shop order because I just loved it, but I definitely want to try some of their singles next. But yeah, this is a great cool tone color story. We get some really interesting shimmers in here. 5 shimmers, 4 mattes. This is just, I know I'm gonna just have the best time when I go back to this. Finally, this is the last cool tone palette. I'm gonna promise. This is the Mary Jane from Melt. And I know that a lot of people didn't love this. I keep saying it, but I love mine. And I just want to make sure I get more use out of this because Melt palettes are just quite expensive, as is the Natasha Denona. And I don't have a makeup collection to not use it. You know, I definitely just want to go back to things that I love. And I love the looks that I did with this. It just looked so stunning. I used those two shades at the end as toppers rather than trying to build them up onto the lid to full intensity. I feel that that really tones down some of the depth that we get in this palette, and that makes it a lot more fair girl friendly because you do get enough like matte shades for the crease. That works really well. And for how dark this looks in the pan, I was able to create some stunning looks. This is definitely a little bit more glammed up though, so I don't think I'll go back to this until like November and like holiday season, because I think it's going to be a really pretty palette for that glammed up smoky look that I sometimes love doing in the winter time. But I also have some more colorful things, and the most colorful thing I want to go back to is the Slush palette from September Rose Cosmetics. I've said it many times before, but this is one of my all-time favorite rainbow palettes, and I used this palette to create the eye look in the icon of my channel. And I just love that look, and this for summer is just going to be so much fun. So I definitely want to go back to this over the summer period, and just like this vibrant neon orange is calling my name. It's got popsicle kind of shades. You can do rainbow eyes with this really easily. You can do sunset eyes with this really easily. And it's a colorful palette that does have some shimmers. Now, not all of the shades in this palette are the best. I remember this blue not being the most outstanding quality here. So the palette itself is a little bit hit or miss, but from what it does, and because it is quite light in its sort of like gradient, I can really get away with it. And in terms of colorful eyeshadow, I haven't tried anything that I like more than this. I just need to go back to it. Now, also more colorful, and I think this is the other one together with the ColourPop and the Natasha Denona that is top of the list of going back to, and that is the Venus XL2 from Lime Crime. And I keep recommending this palette to people, saying you need this in your life if you have a cool undertone and you like sagey greens and you like mauvey pinks with some warm tones. A lot of people have been saying how they are disappointed that Natasha Denona didn't do the exact color story to the mini retro in the midi retro. What if it's already on the market? Because this is that palette, but then bigger, I feel. So if you're looking for a bigger version of the mini retro from Natasha Denona, definitely check this one out. This palette got a lot of flack. That's the word. I always think it's slack, but it's cut slack and you get flack. The sounds are too similar in my brain. But this palette just didn't get a lot of hype at the time it was released because it just didn't work for a lot of people. But hey, I'm fair-skinned, and this makes for the prettiest, softest, very fun everyday looks that are neutral but with a twist, which is what I love. So I think together with the Natasha Denona and the ColourPop, this may be one of the first ones I'll go back to. And when I was going through my palettes, like thinking which 10 palettes do I really want to go back to first, and I was like, this guy, the Carly Bible from ABH, another palette that was just completely well, this wasn't even ignored. It was just not on anyone's radar because it was just like, it was just snowed under with all of the releases that ABH was doing. So this palette, oh, you guys, I know when I want to go back to it. To me, this is like the more neutral tone version of the Kaleidos and Angelica Nykvist collab, the Club Nebula. You get the reddish tones with the peaches, but then you also get these periwinkle blues. Again, a palette that's great for like the spring summer season. This, I just need to go back to it. I need to use it more. Another palette I need to use more, and this is going to be perfect for summer, the Nabla Cutie Analog palette. This is like summer in a palette. It's warm tones, and they're orangey tones, but they're not too orange on my skin tone. I feel that when these blend out, there's something to the way these shades have been blended together, and by shades blended together, I mean the color of these eyeshadows, that if you have a warm undertone, they're gonna work, but also if you have a cool undertone, they're going to work. And that's mainly down to these like darker shades. Very often these really dark shades pull incredibly warm toned, but both of these are a little bit more cool toned, which is why they sort of tone down the orangeness of these two browns. You get two lovely shimmers that complement the palette very well. This is one of my favorite warm tone palettes. And when do I wear warm tones? In the summertime. If I'm gonna wear them, the summer is the period of warm tones for me. So this is the one I want to go back to for sure. And finally, the last palette I want to share with you that I'm going to go back to is the Kaleidos Futurism 5 Electro Turquoise. This is my favorite of the Futurism palettes, and I believe it's still available, if I'm not mistaken. This is what the color story looks like. Again, we get this vibrant orange, and when I used this the first time, I was able to use this as a crease shade and blended it with the brown, and then it made for a very good neutral. So this is a palette that may look a little out there at first glance, but these are shades that you can blend together and sort of mix and customize. You can do an old tealy turquoisey look if you'd like. You could do an old neutral look if you'd like, or you can combine the two. So there's easily a couple of looks that you can do with this. And I like it when a palette has some versatility plus a unique color story. So this, for me, is just one that I know I want to go back to and that I know I want to get more use out of. So especially one, again, that I think summer season is going to be perfect for this. So those are the 10 palettes that I would like to get back to. I really hope that you enjoyed watching this video and that you didn't mind me ranting a bit about the plans I have for my 10 palette review videos. I'm just someone who really likes going back to old favorites, and I want to show you that it's okay to use older things. I don't care if the algorithm doesn't like it all that much. It's one of the reasons why my channel isn't growing any faster as it is. If I were to do more things about new makeup releases and also have a lot of negative reviews, I'm pretty sure the algorithm would love me a lot more. But it's just not going to happen. So if you could subscribe to the channel and thumbs up the video to help me with my algorithm, then that would be lovely, because that's how you get videos out there. And if you support creators that have similar content to me, where they go back to older stuff and they really like getting the use out of their stuff, then you will also start seeing it more on your timeline. That's how algorithms work. So I really hope you enjoyed watching today's video. Thank you so very much for being here. I've got lots more content coming your way, so please subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you in my next one. Bye bye!